Years had passed since the antique shop disappeared. No one could recall when it had closed, only that one day it was simply gone, as if it had never been there at all. Maya, a journalist, had spent months researching a story about lost objects and the strange ways they found their way back. What had started as a curiosity, a handful of coincidences collected from Greenwich Village residents, had become something far greater. The key that had unlocked forgotten dreams, the photograph that had healed old grief, the letter that had mended a broken bond, the coin that had sparked a chain of kindness, the mirror that had restored lost vision. Each story was connected, though none of the people involved knew it. Each object had been lost, and yet each had returned in a way that changed everything. Maya traced the stories back to the shop that no longer existed. She combed through city records, interviewed long-time residents, searched for any evidence that the shopkeeper, Sarah, had ever truly been there. Nothing. And yet she couldn't shake the feeling that she was part of the story, that her own place in this web of lost and found had already been written. She had almost given up on the article when the pendant arrived. It had appeared in her mailbox without explanation, a jade pendant, its surface worn smooth with age. She had never seen it before, and yet, the moment she held it, something within her shifted. She had been on the verge of walking away from journalism, convinced she had lost her passion. The pendant's arrival had been small, almost insignificant, but that night she had pulled out her notes again. Now she stood outside a quiet retirement home, the pendant in her palm. Inside she found Sarah. The elderly woman had aged gracefully, her eyes still holding that knowing glimmer. As Maya hesitated, Sarah's gaze flickered to the pendant. She smiled, not with surprise, but with understanding. Maya opened her mouth to speak, to ask the question she had spent months chasing, but she already knew the answers. The pendant had come to her the same way the other objects had found their way to those who needed them. A final gift from the woman who had spent her life guiding lost things home. Sarah had always understood what Maya had just begun to grasp. Some things are never truly lost. They are simply waiting to be found.